All right. Well, welcome to the Robo Show, and I'm your host, Chad Robichaux, here today with a friend, a brother, and I think a lot of people know Victor Marx. Does amazing work at ATP, All Things Possible Ministries, and Victor Marx Ministries. Just does incredible work. Victor and I have so many things in common. We not only are both Cajuns from down the bayou in Louisiana, we grew up like miles from each other on the same road, Bayou Blue Bypass Road. And we didn't know, but we were down the street from each other, both facing some childhood abuse from our fathers and stepfathers, and then joined the Marine Corps, both joined the Marine Corps, then left the Marine Corps and doing ministry work. So many things in common. Everybody's like meets me and they're like, Victor Marx, and people meet Victor and they're like, hey, do you know Chad Robichaux? And
yep.
But yeah, we're already connected. We're already met. We're have spoken together, done things together, and it's so always so awesome to work with you. You're not just somebody to work with, but a brother that I call when I need things, and I thankful for our personal friendship and relationship, and thankful to have you on the show today, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm thrilled to be here. And you're right. I was just telling somebody yesterday about, you and I know lots of people. We have lots of colleagues, but we have a very narrow field of friends. A person you can call at 2 a.m. in the morning and say, I am wrapped around an axle and my mind ain't working right. Can you just pray for me? And know that there's no judgment at all. And I'm grateful for you for that.
We've done it for each other.
Yeah, we have. I tell folks, you got to have at least one friend you can call 24/7 and know that they're there for you regardless. So you're one of those few, and I appreciate you, man.
One other thing that we have in common that I didn't mention, we're both like basically ninjas.
Pretty much. And we love to hassle each other.
I'm a ground ninja.
Yep. I'm the stand-up ninja. And I will say this, you are one bad beast on the ground, man. I'm a blender standing up because of my speed. You are a blender on high speed on that ground. People do not want to get wrapped up with you. That I can guarantee.
Guarantee. That brings me back to home. I just got back. I went back to Louisiana. I was in our neck of the woods, Bayou Blue Bypass Road this weekend.
Yeah.
They guarantee and couillon and all the fun Cajun words and ate some crawfish.
Yeah, it's crawfish season, ain't it?
Crawfish season, yes, it is.
Hey, you remember the first time that we actually met? It was at a big event, and I'll just let people know. You better hassle your friends. When you ain't hassling them, they know you don't love you no more. Mm-hmm. But I walked up to you. You had a big reception line. This was a big, tall cotton event, tons of people. And I remember waiting in line. I walked up to you, and you had that look of just next person, and you're giving it all. So I slipped in there, and I said, hey, you're a Marine? And you're looking at me like, yeah. Did you not listen? Yeah. And I said, I'll never forget, folks. This was my first question to Chad. I said, hey, is there a height requirement for the Marines to shoot? And it was a perfect move. I saw you kind of like process, like, what the hell did this guy just say? And then you instantly fired back. You go, I used to be taller. And I knew, I am at wits with a master. And from then on, man.
You get those kind of questions when you got people come in line talking, and people ask some crazy stuff. I love people, so I used to hate people. Now God's redeemed my heart to where I love people now. I love talking to people, and I actually enjoy being in those lines talking to all kind of people. But people ask some crazy things.
They do. And when it's one after another, you have to do a quick reset and go, okay, I need to give this person everything, but you're waiting. What's going to happen? So that was fun. Now,
they ask some crazy things, and they try to peddle some crazy. All you ladies out there that sell essential oils, the veterans got enough. We don't need any. I'm gonna put a sign on my table that veteran no essential oils, please.
Yeah.
I see the lady waiting in the back coming with her big bag of essential oils to bring to the veterans.
Here it comes. Or you get those folks at religious, events that go, I just feel like God wants me to pray for you. And I'm like, yeah, you'd be the 14th person today, so I must really be struggling. And are they want to lay hands on you? It's like, yeah, I don't know if you need to like put your hands on me to pray, but yeah, fun times. So hey, let me ask you, with all the responsibility and weight that you have, how do you decompress?
Well, a couple of ways. You and I both do this. We go talk about. I think because of our past and because of not our past hardships, but because of the weight that we carry and the jobs that we do, the things that we teach, we should be applying in our lives.
Yep.
We shouldn't be hypocrites. Most people that teach things are hypocrites,
Yeah.
And we can be at times too. But I really recently, in the last 2 years, had to do a reset again because I just found some of those things creeping back up into my life, and I had to. I remember calling you during that time, and I think about going out and speaking. You and I talk about this: the 4 pillars of resiliency: mind, body, spirit, social. It seems to people in the military, it seems cheesy because it's like a bullet points on a PowerPoint presentation somewhere, but there's a lot to that. Always evaluating yourself and challenging yourself and checking yourself. Am I mentally where I need to be? Am I physically where I need to be? Am I socially where I need to be? Do I have a strong spiritual foundation, right? So is my mindset right? Am I properly motivated? Am I thinking in the right terms? Physically, am I healthy enough? Can I do a better diet? Can I take care of my injuries? Can I work out more? Socially, I can't pick who I work with, but I can allow who I speak into my life. I can pick who speaks in my life, and the spiritual foundation where I'm at in my relationship with God. And so for me, like all those things are very important. So as a person of faith, you think that the proper answer would be like, prayer, worship, listening to good worship music, like all those things. But I have to have all those. If my prayer life's really strong and my relationship with God's really strong, but I'm like 20 pounds overweight, I feel like trash. And I'm very depressed and demotivated. If I'm allowing my mind to be like consumed with just negativity and my mindset's not right and I'm not motivated, then I'm down. And if I'm not socially policing who speaks in my life, and I'm allowing people to speak negative in my life, those things that impact me. So I have to have a balance of all those things. I was just recently talking to Brandon, our national programs manager, about this, like kind of we always inventory Mighty Oaks Foundation, making sure we do a good job. And I think we do a really good job of the mind, the social and the spirit. But where we seem to have been lacking is the physical. And I'm like, man, some of our guys on our staff, they're enjoying our food at our ranches way too much. And I'm like, we're teaching discipline. We need to have disciplined people on our staff, and they need to have the belt to sit in front of people and look disciplined. And it made me really think about that physical pillar. And I'm like, man, if I couldn't go out and do jiu-jitsu, because Brazilian jiu-jitsu is something I love, it's a big part of my life. If I couldn't go out and do that, if that was taken away from me right now, I'd really be depressed. I'd be struggling. Even though I'm strong, I have a strong spiritual foundation, even though my mindset's good and I'm around the right people. So I think each of those are very important. And so for me, I teach that, I preach it, I go to speak, spoken 150,000 active duty troops on that topic. And I have to be to live out what I preach, and I have to inventory my life every day and say, where am I at in these areas, and be intentional about rectifying the weaknesses that I have in those areas. And I've been doing that a lot lately, and it's really helped me be in a really good place right now with all the weight and burdens. Mighty Oaks is going 1,000 miles an hour, and there's tons of pressure on me. I believe that's helped me carry that.
Man, I love hearing the balance, because we really are mind, body, and spirit. If you leave out one of those sides, you're going to pay a price. I think about the lady that was leaving a church service of a pastor, and he was shaking hands, and she was in that line shaking hands, walking out the church. She shook his hand and said, "Pastor, you're a liar and a thief." And he was like, "What?" She goes, "You're a liar because you tell us that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit." And he was grotesquely overweight. really overweight, big boy. And she said, you're a thief because you're going to steal from us years that we could use you as a pastor here by you not taking care of your life better. And she walked out. It changed his life. He lost like 80 pounds. And he said he was so convicted by her direct words that it mattered. And you and I mean, God has tempered us because we can get all Marine Corps on people. But I remember speaking at a men's event, same thing. And I just said, some of you are making every excuse not to get in better shape, but you need to. And a guy ended up calling me, it was a year later. He goes, man, I've lost 60 pounds. I'm a pastor. I was so convicted, both angry and convicted at you. Because you just, people hide behind, and I think I might have used the word, being a fatso or something, childish, but it was, it convicted him. So we want to encourage people listening or watching right now. You will feel better if you exercise, better diet, bring it to a spiritual component. Now, are you some big devotional reader? Do you spend hours a day with the Lord in prayer of the Bible, or are you kind of take a little niblet or listen, or what does that look like for you?
So for me, I go to Woods Edge Community Church in the Woodlands, Texas, and my pastor's Pastor Jeff Wells. Every year he disciples about 8 community leaders or people that are leaders in some kind of capacity. And I'm very privileged this year. I'm in a discipleship group.
Nice.
And so we meet in 35 Saturdays out of the year.
Wow.
Not all, some we resume as well, but a lot of reading, scripture memorization. It's pretty intensive. He's like a doctorate in theology from Rice University. So he's like a super brain, and trying to keep up with him. A lot of the reading's been tough. But one of the first books we read was his book called Unhurried Time with God. And it's basically about daily personal prayer and time with God. And it really challenged me and convicted me because sometimes, and you might be able to relate to this, sometimes my work in ministry kind of bleeds over to my personal time with God, and then it becomes work. And I don't do what I need to do in my personal time with God. Do you think I think people on the outside might think if you're in ministry, you get closer to God. I beg to differ. I think sometimes you get ministry, you get further from God because you lose that personal, intimate time. It becomes a job at work. And so it really challenged me in that area. And so what I do right now is I do about an hour a day, which is hard for me because I'm like, I'll wake up and I want to go. I want to what's the agenda? I got a mission. Mighty Oaks is very important to me. And so I have to discipline myself to not work on ministry and to work on my relationship with God. It's two very different things. And so I do 2 chapters in the Old Testament, 2 chapters in the New Testament. Today was 1 Samuel 11 and 12, and Romans 7 and 8, which are 2 of my favorite chapters in the Bible. So I studied those 4 chapters. I listened to about 3 worship songs to still my mind before I pray. And the reason I do it that way, I do it in that order, is because if I try to pray first, my mind's, I'm like creating things, writing business plans. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. My mind's doing all kinds of stuff while I'm praying. So by the time I study the word, by the time I listen to 2 or 3 worship songs, now God really has my attention and my prayers a little more special and sacred. And so that's kind of what I do right now. But I'll be honest, right now it's a discipline. It's not something I just wake up and like, oh, can't wait to get my hour of personal time with God. Like, it's a discipline right now.
Greg Laurie, a pastor out in California, a preacher, he once told me, because he discipled me as I was just out of the Marine Corps. And I thank God for him. He spent a couple of years investing in me because I was bouncing off the walls, and I trained him in martial arts, and then he discipled me. But he said, Victor, ministry has ruined more good, godly men than anything else. And I thought, back then I was thinking, what do you mean? You get in ministry, you're going to get closer to the Lord. And he was right. I've seen where the busyness and the business of ministry and the pressure that comes on pushes a man who used to simply love the Lord and had a simple walk. It tends to push us away. I know I've said a number of times, Lord, I've been so busy doing ministry for you. I miss you, and forgive me. I just miss spending time with you.
Yep. Well, if you're listening to that book, by the way, Unhurried Time with God by Pastor Jeff Wells, you get it on Amazon. Really solid. It's an easy read. It's pretty short, and it's really changed my perspective a lot. It's really, really.
I think I'll get that. That sounds motivating.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It was the first one we did in our discipleship process, and like I said, it's just challenged me. But hey, like even though it's anything you start doing requires a regimen and discipline to do it, and then it transitions at some point into habit. You know, if you're gonna run, you're gonna be run a marathon. You got to run every day to train, right? And at some point, you're like making yourself get out there and run 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, and 5 miles. You're making yourself do it. And at some point, it just becomes habit.
Yeah.
You just get out there and do it. And so for me, like this is right now, I'm regimented. I'm being disciplined about it. But I know from my experience as an athlete, as a Marine, those things turn into habit, and I want to become a habit.
It goes from duty to devotion.
This episode of the Robo Show is brought to you by iron-neck.com. Iron Neck is the world's #1 neck strengthening device. You guys don't know, in 2006, I was in Afghanistan and broke my neck. And if you want to read about that story, a crazy story of how I broke my neck, it's in my book, An Unfair Advantage. You can go and check it out. But coming back from Afghanistan, after that's when I had all my big MMA fights and my neck. And the VA wanted to do fusion, and I refused to do fusion, and I just opted to just strengthen my neck, keep my neck strong. So since, all these years fighting through all my fights in MMA and jiu-jitsu, I've always been very important that I keep the muscles of my neck strong, because the bones in my neck are broken off, and so I don't have that stability. And so neck strengthening has always been a very important thing to me. I've always just improvised ways to do it, using body weight, using different kind of improvised things that I'd make up. But now I don't have to do that anymore, because I have an Iron Neck device, which helps me to not only strengthen my neck, but do it in a safe way. The way the device works is it's on a rotator, so as you move your neck, the point of where the tension is actually moves around your head, and so super effective and safe way to strengthen your neck. And whether you have a neck injury or not, I think in sports or just in life, it's really important to have a good, strong neck. If your neck's strong, your hips are strong, your body's going to be strong. And so check it out, iron-neck.com. If you enter promo code Robichaux, Robichaux, my last name, you'll get 10% off. And I'm really doing this because I love it myself, and I want everybody out there, especially those with bad necks, to be able to take care of themselves. And so I really thought it was a great product to push out and partner with. And these guys are pretty awesome. They're a Texas-based company, iron-neck.com.
And speaking of running, man, we just got back from the border. Me and Jeff Teagues. Oh gosh, it was pretty eye-opening, man. I and my bride, small team. We went out there. We had a good invite by the National Guard, the Texas National Guard. Got to spend time with some folks from Border Patrol, and then also the area commander for Texas Department of Public Safety. And a shout out to all these groups. They're the tip of the spear. They're working 24/7, and under what I would say is pretty challenging policy from DC. What I can say without reservation is I'm convinced on a federal level at DC, they're not really interested in stopping the flow, or we could be doing things a lot better. The other thing is, I want people to understand the cartel is very responsible for creating this crisis. They're using bodies. They're flooding the border with bodies that really force the limited resources that are there already to try to stop, process, but there's thousands coming in every day that don't even get touched. They're doing this in order to get their drugs in. It is
human trafficking, right?
Yes.
So if they keep the Border Patrol busy, doing immigration work, then they're not doing human trafficking. They're not doing drug seizures. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
exactly
that's
it.
like the simplest of strategies, right? You
Yeah.
occupy your enemy. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
And I'll
occupy
tell
the
you,
enemy, buy the resources, and then do what you want. I mean, this is combat operations 101.
101. And I'll tell you, they're very strategic and organized. You don't cross the river without a wristband from one of the cartels. They put you into a computer system. You're paying a tax to cross that river. And the area that we were in, the valley, the Rio Grande Valley, there's 3 cartels that are constantly fighting for territory, or, it's almost like waterfront property. And people have to go through there, whether it's human trafficking, whether it's, sex trafficking, because they are getting kids in. We witness it and we're able to engage and stop men just carrying kids in. Because that's a passport. That's what I'm saying. The policy is if you're an adult with a child, you get in. And these are pedophiles trafficking kids in. I've got video footage that would stun people that we posted on social media. And the other thing is, we watched a couple of gunfights while we were down there with the cartels right across from us, and it wasn't cap guns. They were engaging with some serious, armament. So there's a danger aspect, but Americans have got to stop consuming so many dangerous drugs. I mean, fentanyl. There was, I think it was over 80,000 ODs last year in the U.S. And at some point, Americans have to be, take responsibility for the supply and demand issue.
Yeah. One of the things Americans are consuming more than anything when it comes to dangerous drugs right now is fake news.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
I mean, I say that like not trying to jump on the fake news like topic. I say that because the reason the border is the way it is right now, because people don't understand the border. They listen
Right.
to mainstream media, and they're not taking the time to actually understand what's going on at the border and how harmful and how much of a real humanitarian crisis it is, and how harmful it is to the innocent people who are the real innocent immigrants who are trying to come in. Not to mention our own citizens.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's probably one of the things that shocked me the most is I really there were 2 girls. We saw hundreds come in while we were there that week, and it's late at night. We're running these ops at night, but I remember 2 girls specific, a 9-year-old and 11-year-old, they're sisters. They had traveled a month and a half. And when they crossed over, my wife was one of the first people that met them. And my wife gave them a little, lion and lambs. There's our trauma toys that we give out to kids around the world who've suffered. And my wife simply hugged them. These girls ran to her, started hugging her, and just started bawling. And anybody that's had a kid, especially a girl, when you see these little girls crying, knowing what they had to go through, because when you're traveling, there's no defense. There's no police to stand up for you. If someone wants to rape you or use you, they will. There's things called rape camps that are real. But the main thing, Chad, I would say that stunned me is it really isn't these immigrants' faults. What I would call innocent women and children or dads trying to cross over with their family. There's an invitation, an unspoken / spoken invitation from the United States. You can come. It takes 5 days to get processed, and then we'll release you on your own accord. It's not their fault for coming from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador.
I'd want to come if I was in one of these countries and I had children or family. And I mean, man, I would do anything to get here.
Right.
So you can't blame them. But when you have a process the way we have right now in this open invitation, it puts people's lives in danger, and it opens up the opportunities for horrendous crimes to be committed. And look, America, people could on different sides of the political spectrum could say that we disagree on immigration, but the truth is we are even under the last administration under President Trump, the number one country of immigrants in the world.
Yes.
We allow more people in our country than any other country in the world. And the number two is a far, far second to us. So we are a nation that invites people in. We just have a process to do that. We have a legal process, and we should have a legal process because, I mean, how do we know who's coming in? And I mean, we just recently had, known terrorists trying to come through the southern border.
Absolutely.
That happens all the time. And
yeah,
then people exploiting the border with human trafficking and drugs and all these things. And it creates this dangerous situation that we're creating.
Yeah, there are people coming in from the Middle East constantly, Europe. There's Russians, Chinese. It's people would be shocked. And there are a lot of nefarious characters coming in as well. Cartel members, gang members. And it is increasing violence in our nation, in our cities, and rural towns.
Yeah.
Because wherever illegal activity, drugs, prostitution, trafficking happen, they're filling that void.
Yeah.
3 things need to happen, and I tell folks who been doing interviews, I go, we still need more wall. There's no doubt. The wall is a deterrent. Can it still be breached? Yes, but it's still a deterrent. We need technology.
It provides us to be able to control who comes in and be that generous nation that allows immigrants in. We have to control the process.
Yes. And I mean, I've got lots of friends in the U.S. who came here years ago or currently that they've done it the right way. And they are for that as much as anybody.
Yeah,
they're for the process. So 3 things: we need to continue building the wall in sections that matter. Then we need technology, more technology, and we just have to have manpower. And this is both at a state and federal level. But I just want people to understand, really what is happening down there and the truth. We're going to expand our operations for our ministry because, believe me, people die. The heat is going up, and we want to be there giving them water, immediate food and snacks and care, and then, of course, comfort. And again, it matters as Christians that we show mercy and grace. Now, the dudes who are cartels are trying to get in and smuggle or, sex traffic kids, those get turned over to the authorities, and we will be part of that process. If people want to find out more, visit us at my website, Victor Marx with an X, victormarx.com, and you'll see at the top of our first page, urgent care needed.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what Victor does, definitely go check out his website and find out how you could get on board with support what he does. But he's done this humanitarian work all over the world, particularly in the Middle East, going out in the Middle East where women and children are left behind in war zones. Sometimes they're in hiding, and just going in there and helping them with the trauma they may have experienced, helping move them to safe places, getting them out of the battlefield, and providing medical care and just emotional and spiritual support about to help them, transition and just get safe. And so Victor's done this, a lot in Iraq, in the Middle East, and now, where our nation, has this need at our border, and just an incredible work that you always do.
Thank you, Chad.
And so what's some other things that, kind of wrapping up here, actually the topic of what we're going to talk about today, we didn't touch. So we're doing it again. We're going to have you back on again and talk about some of this other stuff, but I want to make sure people know what you're doing now, how they could support, how they can be praying for you.
Well, thank you. We've got operations in different parts of our nation, both we hunt pedophiles here in the U.S. It's just a lot of effort that Jeff Teagues, retired lieutenant colonel from the unit CAG Delta, overseas as our chief of operations. But I speak to the military like you. Our lines of effort are broad, but they're very focused on what we feel like we effectively do, reaching troubled youth. And then also we have safe houses in Cambodia, Iraq. We're active in reaching kids who were produced by ISIS, and then wives who were sex slaves. We just helped reunite 9 moms with 12 children, and we got them to one of our safe houses for a time in Iraq. We're prepping to actually head back to the Middle East And then the border is such a real need and affects all Americans. So we try to present accurate analysis and assessment of news through a daily brief, a daily intelligence brief that your listeners and those watching can sign up for free. And it's just victormarx.com/brief. You'll get a daily intelligence brief dropped into your inbox with sure, solid news that's factual, done by our analysts and our teams, because knowing what's true, what's real, what's right matters out there. But man, we appreciate you, Chad, and what you do, and I appreciate your friendship and the opportunity to be on your program today. And you will have to come on my radio show as well. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Well, thanks so much, Victor. Awesome work that you're doing. Look forward to seeing you soon. And thanks for tuning in, guys. God bless.